Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Rama 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 Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Ashram. Many thanks to Bhagwan for this wonderful opportunity. Once again, for allowing us to sing His glorious name in His glorious presence. We have offered our Nama Pushpas at His holy feet. Today, I thought we could discuss the answer to two questions. From time to time, people send questions very justified in their asking, the day-to-day life being what it is now in this situation. Now, the first question is based upon what I spoke as Bhagwan spoke. Bhagwan, when Sri Vishwanathji from Kuldeep Mangal visited Bhagwan in Sanadhi Street House, we heard Bhagwan say to Sri Vishwanathji that one should fill one's mind with Ram Naam or any Nama of the Divine. He said, let us remember the Leelas. Let us keep chanting the divine name. It is very difficult for ordinary people to go into Mouna, to practice the state without thoughts. Bhagwan said, it is meant for great souls like Ramana Maharishi, Jai Krishnamurti, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. But ordinary people like us, Swami included himself in that, He said, Vishwanathji, for ordinary people like us, it is very difficult to practice the silence. So it is better to chant the name and to keep on chanting. This is very easy to do, and one could do it in all circumstances, when alone and when in a crowd. And there are no rules or regulations to do it like you have for puja, for a homa. There are no rules or regulations for Nama chanting. And then Bhagwan said, so let us practice only Nama chanting, not Mouna. So you see the question arose, does that mean Bhagwan is not recommending practice of silence, which is regarded as a very high level sadhana? But then Bhagwan was very careful to say, for ordinary people like us. 2 days back we saw how a family had visited Bhagwan in Sannadhi Street House, and the wife was saying that she was not able to chant his name as much as she used. All kinds of thoughts rush into her mind, and she was unable to bear it also. There was a time she locked herself in and chanted. But soon people around began to comment that she was missing out on her duties, and it just wouldn't do for a housewife to resort to the chanting of name, leaving all her duties. So when she said that, Bhagwan said, all these thoughts enter your mind because you keep them empty. If you keep them already filled, they would have no place to enter or stay. But then you should fill your mind with the name of the divine, with high thinking. So you see, Bhagwan expects us to keep our mind filled with the divine name. Instead of practicing Mouna, but it's meant only for those people. There are people who go about like a chatterbox, all the time picking up some conversation or the other, with someone or the other, talking about this and that, or this person and that person, or what is news, blah, 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 all the time. The tongue that keeps moving. It is for those people the practice of Mouna is recommended, at least the physical silence. The thoughts would keep rushing. In the initial stages, it will be very difficult to contain the thoughts. So you let them flow. But here, at least you can keep Mouna. At least for 1 hour a day, if you keep practicing Mouna, 1 hour or 1 hour in the morning or 1 hour in the evening, if it is possible, in the circumstances, it's very good. Somehow the body picks up your language and begins to express it. So it's not that Bhagwan condemned it or anything. He only said for people who have an ordinary mindset, all the time thoughts keep racing. For them to contain those thoughts will be difficult. So let's leave it to the great masters and resort to the Nama chanting. In fact, what happens is, the whole day, the mind goes through different moods. Sometimes the mind is sattvic, Sometimes it turns rajasic, and sometimes it turns tamasic. When the mood is sattvic, immediately you don't feel like doing work, you don't feel like sleep, you feel a certain freshness, you feel a certain energy filling your body, and the mind automatically begins to remember God in an unpointed way. This is what we call meditation. Meditation can happen. You don't have to struggle for it. Papa Ramdas says that he practiced Nama chanting only for 3 years, at the end of which meditation happened of its own accord. He didn't have to struggle. Every Nama that we utter goes into the work of transformation. It changes the details of the outside world, and it changes your inner mindset. So, when the mood is sattvic, you can go into meditation, you can do anything one-pointedly. When the mind becomes rajasic, there is a restless energy in the body. The body will not be able to sit in one place for more than a few seconds. Many people could notice it when they do meditation. After some meditation, the body would demand that we get up and go about. A restlessness results, and then you have to put it to use, this restlessness. How? Engage yourself in work and do it as seva to God. Every little thing, every big action, think that it is meant for God and you are doing God's seva, no matter to whom you are doing it. It could be done to yourself. But even then, you think that you are offering the God in you. You are helping not just the people around, but the God in them, your Gurudev, your Ishtadevta. So with this attitude, you begin to move about doing this and that very excitedly, vigorously, and if you can do it as seva to God, even this rajasic mind is put to use spiritually. And then sometimes the mind gets tired, the body gets tired, and you feel like sleep. You feel very lazy. You don't want to do any work, nor do you want to do any meditation or Nama chanting. Everything becomes a burden. Just allow yourself to rest. But how do you connect it to God? You say simply, God, Bhagwan, I feel so tired, I feel so lazy, the mind is not able to do anything. Allow me to sleep so that I would pick up strength to do your seva tomorrow. You simply have to offer even that to Bhagwan. In fact, when Nivedita was visiting Bhagwan in Sanadi Street house, he said, Nivedita is studying mathematics. She is doing her MSc mathematics. But why is she doing it? She is doing it for God. She is studying for the sake of God, so that she could be a better instrument in the hands of God in her future. So even the studying, eating, sleeping, every action, it's very easy to pluck flowers and offer at the feet. If you can consider that as puja, suppose you begin to offer every action of yours at the feet of God. How much more powerful will this puja be? Instead of offering, plucking some flower and offering it at the feet and calling it puja. If you can remember God, remember that you are only an instrument, it is He who is doing work through you, or you are doing work for the sake of God. So you have to keep remembering and then offering every action at His feet. What a tremendous puja it will be, and how gladly, how happily God would accept it. So this is what Bhagwan said. So you see, from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you have to keep offering the whole day your thoughts, your words, your actions to Bhagwan. You have to say it verbally or do it mentally, but most of the times when you want to do it mentally, you forget. But chanting it becomes, if you have to say it verbally, physically, then it will form itself into a habit. It's more likely that way. So this is what one has to do. Bhagwan never vetoed this Mouna. It's one of the most wonderful sadhanas, especially people who are progressing fast. It's like fasting on Ekadasi day or other days, Shivaratri. You have to fast your mind. Fasting the mind is concentrating on one single name or one single deity and not allowing thoughts to come. Not allowing thoughts. How can you do that? It's only when you fill your mind with Nama. Every thought can be replaced by the name. Then there will be thoughts, but they will be thoughts of God. They will be mostly Nama of God. This is what Bhagwan recommended. Now we shall go to the second question. 2 days back, I was talking about the food poisoning in a reception. Now, how much agonized the parents should have been, what agony the bride and the bridegroom must have gone through. Imagining some 600 people affected by food poisoning and rushing to hospitals, and the hospitals doing overwork, almost filled, that there was no room for any other patient. And Sri Dhanasekar was saying that day that it is true that he felt very bad initially. Why would this happen to me? Despite my chanting the name, my conducting Satsangs in the building, despite our devotion to Bhagwan, why would he let this happen? Why to me? Why me alone? This question is very natural and justified. We have dealt with this even before, that all the events of this life are based upon your past karmas, the karmas of your previous janma. All the good deeds will bear fruit, and then you will get praises from people, and whatever work you attempt will complete itself very successfully, and there will be lots of people coming forward to help you. Everything would go favorable. A bad karma is beginning to play. You will just so much as open your mouth and suddenly people would pounce upon you. Little things will irritate people and they start shouting, calling you names. And you go to the office, everything goes wrong. If it doesn't go wrong, already on the road. So you see, it is the bad time playing up. And according to the karma that you had done in your previous birth, the effect of that karma would also take shape. In different ways, for different people at different times, the law of karma is relentless. Nobody can change it. Even the gods, when they reincarnate, have to go through that. The suffering and the joy. So why me alone? It's because of your own karma, your set of karmas. But don't think the neighbor has escaped, because he will have his own set of karmas playing up at different times. I remember when I was reading the diary of Agaram Jayaraman, Bhagwan started to talk about Manikavachkar, the great saint, one of the greatest saints who worshipped Lord Shiva and composed many, many songs. His songs are very, very famous for their quality and the import. Bhagavan was saying, you see, when Manikavachaka suffered in different ways, Lord Sundareshwara rushed to help him. Lord Sundareshwara protected him. But this beggar is going through endless suffering in Tiruvannamalai ever since he came here. But Lord Arunachaleshwara is not helping this beggar. Why would he do this to me? He complained, or he pretended to complain, because he wanted to make a certain point very clear to people around. Probably such thoughts were going on in their mind. Somebody must have suffered in a very unique way and terribly. And so the thought was, why? Why did you let me down? Why should I go through this and not others? So on behalf of them, Bhagwan started to talk this, and then a few minutes after he said, but you know, Jayarama, just think of all the things that happened in this beggar's life, the good things and the bad things, and all the good things and bad things that happened in Manikavachaka's life, and if you put them in two separate pans of a balance, there would be perfect balance. What did it mean? Each one has his own set of good deeds and bad deeds. They may be very different in variety, in quality, but each one definitely has. So if you put Manikavachaka's events of life in one pan and Yogi Ramsuratkumar's joys and sorrows in the other, Bhagwan says they would be equal. No pan will go down, which means it is what is happening to all of us, so there is no need to complain at all. Why me and not the others? Because I have invited this particular suffering by my past actions. The neighbor might invite some other suffering by his actions. One should not compare oneself with others. Know that even when things happen according to our past karmas, especially bad karmas, God is still very kind to us. He puts some blessing in that. So it is at once the effect of your past karma and also a carrier of his blessings. So when you look at it, despite the suffering that you go through, when you look at it, look at both, you would see that it is well balanced. Meaning, we don't have to complain. And that's why he often asked us to sing that song, Kurayondrumillai Maraimurthy Kanna. I have no complaints, O Krishna. I have no complaints. You are there to give me what I need. You may not give me what I want, but you are there definitely to give me what I need. So I have no complaints, no complaints. So knowing this, whatever joys and sorrows befall us, befall our life, let us learn to understand what it's all about. That there is a perfect balance of the good and the bad in our life. So there is no question, why me alone? The neighbor is going to have his balance also, his account getting even, and it would be unique from yours, that's all. He may not suffer when you suffer, but he will suffer later or before. But that should not be a consolation to us. We should pray instead, God, let this not happen to anybody. So you see, this law of karma, I've been telling you off and on several times, even yesterday or day before yesterday. Remember, every word, every action will bear fruit. One word of praise, you can be sure it will come back to you one day. And one word of abuse, be very sure that too will come back to you, especially at your most vulnerable moment that you wouldn't be able to bear it. You would go crying and complaining to people. So knowing this, and another thing, other advantage is, when somebody abuses you, know that there is an advantage in it. People who abuse you take away some of your sins upon themselves. People who praise you take away some of your good deeds, good karmas upon themselves. So one has to be very careful with people who praise, because they are bent upon taking some of your good karmas upon themselves without having to do them, without having to slog for it. So there is always the divine justice. No detail can ever escape this divine justice. One may murder somebody and buy the judge with money for a favorable verdict. But remember, God is behind, watching everything. In His account will go your act which you thought nobody knew. So nothing ever escapes the keen attention of God. In fact, Bhagwan went on to say there's a Chitragupta who keeps an account of everybody, every being. So let us not say, why me alone and not others? There is divine justice in that, which is very different from human justice. So let's bow before our Bhagwan here, who also carries a balance in his hand. And we should submit our today's prayers, knowing that the world has invited this situation by its collective karma. A certain percentage, at least, it has to go through, and that's what is happening now. But only He can give us relief from this, the one who is the cosmic controller, the one who created this atmosphere for some cleansing, for some reason of His own. Only the Divine knows. Bhagwan, we appeal to you again and again for a huge bestowal of grace upon the whole world to free it from the clutches of this virus and its variants and bring back normalcy in every aspect of life, everywhere. Kindly approved the fear and other negativities from the mind and stop the spread of those infections. Enter the appropriate medicine and please make it work. And all those sevaks who are fighting the disease, helping others all the time, we beg you to free it, to protect them and give them all-round well-being. Above all, we beg you again for a lift to the economy and for our constant remembrance of your name. Bhagwan, please bless us with the attitude of being a good fitting instrument in your hands and go about our life with gratitude for all the blessings you have already given, instead of complaining about something that we did not get or we still long for. And Bhagwan, again, please bless us with the attitude of being able to see only your grace in everything in life. Today somebody was asking me, Ma, you have been praying for 1 year now, every day, twice a day, and how many days now? 365 days gone already. It's March 22nd, I think. And nothing is happening. How is that you are still able to go on? I said, this is all we can do. We can do nothing else except pray to the all-merciful Almighty to step in and give us some relief. And this we have to go on doing until it happens. Not give up in between, not get tired over it. And what's more, it is the one who gave this condition to the world. It is the one who created this virus in the first place. It's the same one who is activating me into this prayer. It's not that I, the individual, am doing. It is He who is activating me into this prayer, and He will go on tirelessly. It is our duty to pray to God when there is a need for it and not bother about the results. Of course, we pray for the results, but we don't have to worry about when it would happen, because God knows best. He knows when He should bring it about. And that would be the best for us also. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.